Once more, we are here at lawhub.lsac.org in the drill sets, and we are going to scroll on down to drill set number 1 and resume where we left off after the first video of this passage. So we're going to go to the questions, and you can see I still have my highlights from the upfront read, and we're picking up with question 2, and we're going to select the highlighting tool to try to succinctly highlight what the task is of this question. And question 2 states, the passage indicates which one of the following with regard to the U.S. government's official attempts to establish legal recognition of individual Native Alaskans' private ownership of land in the Tongass region. So we're going to just highlight this whole thing, and we'll just pick up with the regard to. So, which with regard to the US government's official attempts. So, the official attempts are pretty much what we talked about in these first two paragraphs. So, it's all highlighted, but that's okay. I know this is where the information should occur, and we're just going to leave it right now. So, we've got this series of presidential proclamations between 1902 and 1909. We're going to comprise the Tongass National Forest, and we're going to pretty much accept that we're going to have to cross-check for detailed questions such as this, the answer choices almost directly against the relevant information. And happily, it's in these first two paragraphs this time around. So starting with choice A, we're looking for small phrases that we can use to eliminate answers because generally they're a reversal of the information, they go too far and are extreme based on the information, or are things that are simply possible but not certain based on the information. So starting with choice A, we've got the attempts, meaning the US government's official attempts, presupposed that no Haida or Tlingit family had traditionally owned more than 160 acres of land. And it said that it was going to allow these Native Alaskan heads of household to apply for up to 160 acres of land, but it didn't say that, like, no Haida or Tlingit family, period, had ever owned more than 160 acres of land. So that is absolutely extreme, and we can eliminate choice A. Then we've got choice B. Those attempts focused primarily on establishing traditional ownership by Native Alaskans of fish camps, streams, and bays. Well, the attempts in this case were really limited to this U.S. Congress 1906 Alaska Native Allotment Act, which was designed to establish legal recognition of these claims. So it's not about the establishment of the traditional ownership. We also know it was about the land itself, not the fish camps, streams, and bays. So for a couple of reasons, we can eliminate choice B pretty confidently. Then choice C, those attempts were instituted by means of presidential proclamations. Well, this is just absolutely a incorrect reversal of the information. The presidential proclamations up here were used to set aside the land for the national forest. So this, as far as it goes with the presidential proclamations, is just 180 degrees backwards. Then choice D, those attempts were prompted by a widespread public outcry. Well, again, that's just the sort of thing that maybe in modern times we'd hope that there was some sort of justice being applied for a group that had potentially been taken advantage of, but it certainly didn't say anything about that in the passage. And then those attempts began before the establishment of the Tongass National Forest was completed. Well, here's where we're going to have to actually compare the details. And this is why we don't fixate too much on the details, recognizing we're probably going to have to reread it anyway. And we can see that the Alaska Native Allotment Act was passed in 1906, and the Tongass took from 1902 to 1909. So 1906 is before 1909. So choice E is 100% correct. And this is how you will engage with specific detail questions on the exam. You're not going to use this fine text thing, for instance, because if I try to use it for the word native, you can see it shows up everywhere. And I'm just taking a lot more time, and it does some kind of interesting little highlighting that isn't necessarily accurate. So I don't want to do that. And you'll see that it kind of gets stuck in that fashion afterwards. And instead, I just want to go cross check carefully in the exact places we know the relevant information lies. So go ahead and practice effective evaluation of a limited window of text to address these specific term or location detail style questions on your own in future practice over at lawhub.lsac.org.